Hi there, this is a French Vinyl Addict coming up on the fourth video. So thank you very much to the first people who subscribed to my channel and who watched my last video where I was presenting to you 6 copies of prog rock genre I was picking up in my collection. In today's video I'm going to present you 4 albums that I bought last month. Actually I took a quick trip to Vermont, Burlington, very nice city. I went to a couple of record stores there, so this is what I found. The first one would be that one. So that's Beach Boys, Pet Sounds. That's an all-time classic. If you're a Beatles or a Beach Boy fan, you may know about the gentleman rivalry between the two groups. Brian Wilson, when you heard Rubber Soul, just wanted to do that masterpiece, and then when Paul McCartney heard that album, he made Sgt. Pepper. So yeah, I already had that album in reissue, I guess 2016 or 17, something like that, and I was very lucky to find an original copy of that album, Pet Sounds, Beach Boys, with a lot of classic Sloop John B, Caroline, God only knows, one of my all-time favorite. A second one would be that one. So Gene Clark, Doug Dillard, Through the Morning, Through the Night. Very interesting. Gene Clark used to be in the Byrds, and I think he left the Byrds in 66 or 67 something. And his solo work is absolutely underrated. We often see that word underrated, but I think it is really so. And he made really good stuff with the Galston Brothers, the album Echoes, and with Doug Dillard and with Dillard, the banjo player. I think they made 2 albums, The Fantastic Expedition of Dillard and Clark, with a radio song, for instance, and that one, Through the Morning, Through the Night. So that's folk and late 60s folk, really good stuff. So you should definitely give a try if you like classical Americana music. The next one is the first album of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So we were in the US, now we're back in the UK again. That's the first album, debut album of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Greg Lake was the singer of King Crimson on the first album that I was presenting you in my last video. So it's not an easy album, so if you're not a prog rock freak, it's pretty hard to start with that genre. But if you're, let's say, experienced with that genre, you might find interesting structured sections of keyboards from that album. And of course, it has Lucky Man, which is more a mainstream song on that album. But yeah, I like prog rock, so I bought that album. Then on to the next. This is you may not recognize the cover. Actually, this is Deep Purple's Made in Japan. So it's not actually the title. I think the title is Live in Japan. And I didn't know, because when I came across that record, I had to ask the guy in the store, and it turned out that I was holding in my hands an original copy of Deep Purple's live album made in Japan in Japanese press. So sounds amazing. Classic era. Deep Purple, MK2 with Richie Blackmore on guitar, Ian Gill on vocals, Roger Glover bass player, Ian Pace on drums, and John Lord on keyboard. Right after release of Machine Head, sounds amazing. Great track list. I think the record company, they just wanted to experiment because they had just had new gear available, new technology available at the time. So they asked the band if they can record, do some concert, and so they made that. Out of the two concerts in Japan in 1972, they made that album. And last, that one. So this is Michael Jackson Thriller, one of the top seller album of all time. I didn't have a copy. I used to have that album in CD or cassette when I was younger, and we just had a 40th anniversary of that album last year, and I just gave a try. I just listened to the new mix they made. A lot of people were starting to argue because the original version is better. So I say, okay, it's not like very hard to find an original copy, but this one is like mint, like really mint. So original copy of Michael Jackson Thriller 1982. So this just joined my collection. So this is it. Thank you for stopping by. Stay tuned for the next chapter.